The Swiss watch manufacturing company Audemars Piguet was founded by Jules Louis Audemars and Edward Auguste Piguet in the Vallée de Joux back in 1875. Of the three Grande Maisons which cap the pantheon of luxury watchmaking, Audemars Piguet has always been the most comfortable with bringing the noise. The company is best known for introducing the Royal Oak wristwatch in 1972, which helped the brand rise to prominence within the watchmaking industry. So as we know it's a new year, new surprises are being cooked for watch enthusiasts in the Maisons. With the sneak peek of some new and occasional watches, it's time to lose our minds. Audemars Piguet is starting 2023 with a bang, by dropping 27 sizzling new timepieces. Let's take a look. The Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore Self-Winding Chronograph Reference 25721 ST is an illustrious timepiece that debuted in 1993. The offshore was meant to rejuvenate the Royal Oak and attract a new, younger audience. The watch was the brainchild of 22-year-old designer Emmanuel Gate, who came up with a chunky creation that took elements of Gerald Genta's original design and magnified them. The 42mm watch received the nickname, the Beast, and did what it was supposed to do. Since then it's been 30 years. To celebrate the 30th anniversary of this oversized beast of a lineup, Audemars Piguet has announced the first ever Royal Oak Offshore in black ceramic with matching ceramic bracelet. This Royal Oak Offshore Self-Winding Chronograph in 42mm to be housed in an all-black ceramic case. The case and bracelet material has been massively popular in other models, most recently the Audemars Piguet Black Ceramic Royal Oak Self-Winding Chronograph and the Royal Oak Self-Winding Carolina Bucci Limited Edition. The black ceramic case and bracelet along with the black petite tapisserie dial, previously exclusive to 26,238 references in gold or titanium, offers a striking monochrome look while the white markers and 18-karat white gold bezel screws offer a sharp contrast that is both aesthetically appealing and functional for legibility. The hour and minute hands, small seconds at 6 o'clock, chronograph minutes at 9 o'clock and chronograph hours at 12 o'clock are outfitted with lume for an extra layer of visibility by night. The piece is powered by the 4404 caliber, an in-house integrated chronograph movement featuring a column wheel construction with a flyback function. Unlike its traditional counterparts, this chronograph can be restarted without having to first stop and reset it. For a discreet pop of color, a 22-karat pink gold oscillating weight engraved with the AP initials can be seen through the sapphire crystal caseback. Another Royal Oak Offshore chronograph was added to the list again in black ceramic with eye-catching touch of 18-karat yellow gold. At 43mm, this is a heftier timepiece, and to match its more sizable presence, this iteration comes with a mega tapisserie decorated dial. The yellow gold flourishes extend to the caseback where it frames the sapphire crystal, revealing the 4401 flyback chronograph movement in a column wheel with a vertical clutch construction. As with the black ceramic offshore above, it also offers the wearer the ability to start, stop and restart the chronograph in one action. The hands start and stop without the sense that the hands are jumping forward, making for a smoother transition. The patented zero resetting mechanism allows the counter hands to instantly reset to zero. After the regular offshores, Audemars Piguet brings into the family another specimen, a cool-colored self-winding flying tourbillon chronograph presented in a black ceramic case with green anodized elements. Jokes aside, this new watch is a fine addition to the new generation of the Royal Oak Offshore collection, much like the original version launched in 2021, but with an even more futuristic look. The new AP Rue Flying Tourbillon chronograph version is everything the inaugural reference was. Still, the choice of material for the 43mm case and green hues to color elements on the dial side make all the difference. This year, for the first time in the 43mm Rue collection, the watch features a full ceramic case with a ceramic caseback. Multiple finishing techniques are used to bring out the best of the case design, with updated, enlarged polished bevels on the edges. AP mastered ceramic manufacturing and tooling very well, not just for the cases but for the full ceramic bracelets too. Only this edition is offered on a green rubber strap, matching several dial elements. The Royal Oak Offshore Tourbillon chronograph design reminds us of supercars and fighter planes. The dial under the slightly curved sapphire crystal has an open-worked architecture, futuristic and aggressive. Note the wide beveled bridges to the flying tourbillons left and right and the movement plates vent-like surface beneath. The flying tourbillon at 6 o'clock is an obvious centerpiece and reveals the inner workings of the escapement, while the gear train is the backdrop for the upper part of the dial. The chronograph counters with the black outer ring do not obstruct the view, and the tiny hands to indicate the minutes or the hours passed are the same red color as the central chronograph hand, in line with the sports character of the series. The large pink-gold hands with a superluminova strip down the center indicate the time, and the gold-colored theme is continued with the AP logo, the crown and the balance wheel as if to remind of the luxury status of this exceptional watch. The vivid green color, responsible for the distinctive look of this new Royal Oak Offshore variant, is applied to the rubber strap, the rubber gasket, and a few dial elements. A green anodized inner bezel works as the minutes track, with very legible, black printed markings and numerals. The black PVD-coated titanium bridges are highlighted with green inserts with an aluminium coating, and all the movement's colors play to this aesthetic experiment. The Caliber 2967, a seriously reworked version of the in-house flying tourbillon flyback chronograph Caliber 2952, which was first launched with the Code 11.59 collection a couple of years back, is what powers this limited edition of the RU. This automatic movement consists of 526 parts, operates at a 3 Hz frequency, and provides 65 hours of power reserve, guaranteed. The new Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore Self-Winding Flying Tourbillon Chronograph 2.6622 CE limited edition in black ceramic with green hues is limited to 100 pieces. It is offered with an interchangeable green rubber strap, a titanium folding clasp, and an additional black rubber strap. The launch of a new Royal Oak concept is always quite of an event. Since 2002, the collection has been a platform of experimentation for Audemars Piguet, blending innovative technical solutions with avant-garde design. A case in point, the new ROC Split Seconds GMT Reference 2.6650 Ti combines a new automatic Rattrapant chronograph movement with dual time function and large date, a new case size and an interchangeable strap system. If the chronograph is one of the most revered complications, the Rattrapant or Split Seconds function takes it to a whole new level. This intricate mechanism is one of the most difficult to make. Split-second chronographs feature 2 superimposed seconds hands that time 2 events of different lengths simultaneously. One hand can be stopped to display an intermediate time, while the other one keeps running. A second push on the Rattrapant pusher allows the stopped hand to catch up with the moving hand. This complication has been extremely rare in Audemars Piguet's wristwatch offerings, with only one example documented before 1996, a watch sold in 1949 that now belongs to a prestigious private collection. The function was then included in 3 Grandes complications: 1996 Grande complication, 1997 Royal Oak Grande complication, 2013 Royal Oak Offshore Grande complication. And mention must be made of the Royal Oak Concept lap timer. If this watch developed with Michael Schumacher is not per se a split-second chronograph, it is capable of measuring consecutive lap times on the racetrack. The new Royal Oak Concept Split Seconds premieres a brand new movement combining a flyback chronograph with split seconds, a GMT function and a large date. Its open work dial gives a glimpse of its spectacular architecture while reinforcing the modern and technical character of the watch. The red and yellow accents, respectively marking the chronograph and GMT functions, and the tachymeter scale transferred onto the inner bezel add a sporty touch. As its reference number suggests, the new Caliber 4407 of this ROC Split Seconds is derived from the Caliber 4400, the brand's in-house integrated chronograph first seen within the Code 11.59 collection. As such, it is a high-end, modern construction with a column wheel and a vertical clutch. Still, it has been substantially re-engineered to allow the addition of the Rattrapant function, specifically for energy management. And unlike the Caliber 4400, the hairspring features a Breguet overcoil. One of the highlights of this modern-looking movement can be seen via the sapphire caseback. The split-second mechanism has been partially integrated within the center of the platinum winding rotor that AP aptly describes as semi-peripheral. This allowed the AP watchmakers to keep the movement thinner and to offer an unimpeded view of the split-second wheel and clamp, under the X-shaped bridges at the center of the movement. All of this while offering the practicality of automatic winding. The Royal Oak Concept Split Seconds GMT also introduces a new 43mm case size. Fashioned out of titanium, with a mix of satin brushed, sandblasted and polished surfaces, it is probably one of the most complex cases ever produced by the brand. Its dynamic and angular architecture features ceramic push pieces, multiple inserts and guards. The Rattrapant push piece is located at 9 o'clock. The GMT corrector is a push piece coaxial to the screw-locked crown. For the first time in this collection, this new ROC Split Seconds GMT comes with an interchangeable strap system. Catering to smaller wrist sizes, the Royal Oak introduced new 34 and 37mm case sizes. The 34mm size was introduced to the family in 2020, and the 37mm in 2012, coinciding with the Royal Oak's 40th anniversary. Housed in luxurious 18K white gold cases that reflect the design upgrades of 2022, the new Royal Oak self-winding 34 and 37mm models have 32 baguette-cut diamonds set into the iconic octagonal bezel. As the brand points out, this diamond setting marks a first for the 34mm model. Arranged in groups of 4 to accommodate the 8 mandatory hexagonal screws that are integral to the Royal Oak's personality, the diamonds flood the polished bezel with even more light. Moving towards the dial, there are a further 12 baguette-cut diamonds posing as our markers, set on top of the classic Grande Tapisserie Guilloche dial that now features a blue smoked or gradient color. Obtained by physical vapor deposition, the gradient effect is achieved by spraying colored varnish on the periphery while the dial rotates, creating a darker shade in the center and a darker color on the edges. Introduced last year, the new gold Audemars Piguet signature is the result of galvanic growth, and each letter is fixed to the dial by hand. To enhance legibility in low-light conditions, the white gold hands are filled with luminescent coating. Like all the updated Royal Oak models, the date window is the same color as the dial. The 34mm Royal Oak self-winding is powered by automatic caliber 5800 with a frequency of 4 Hz and a 50H power reserve. The 37mm model relies on automatic caliber 5900 with the same frequency but a slightly higher power reserve of 60 hours. Vocher produces both calibers. The bridges are decorated with Cotes de Genève stripes, and the 22K pink gold rotor has sandblasted areas, satin finishings and polished chamfers. Audemars Piguet was famous for its use of stones in the 1960s and the 1990s, with dials made from lapis lazuli, aventurine, garnet, mother of pearl, opal, ruby, amethyst and other stones. Turquoise is one of the oldest known stones, as Egyptian and Chinese civilizations used it over 3,000 years ago. It here finds its place in the collection for its unique color and spiritual qualities. The new Royal Oak self-winding 37mm 15550BA in 18K yellow gold with a dial cut from a turquoise stone is the first to offer this combination of materials and is another addition to the very few, no tapisserie, Royal Oak watches. The versatile, mid-size 37mm versions of the Royal Oak collection were added to the series only in 2012 but were updated last year, in line with the design evolution of the brand from Le Brassus, released to mark the 50th anniversary of its omni-important model, created by Gerald Genta in 1972. The new generation of 37mm Royal Oaks got a slimmer case, down from 9.8mm to 9mm. There were changes made to the bracelet to improve it ergonomically, and the polished chamfers on the bezel and the bracelet became more apparent, but nothing to compromise the classic appearance of the icon. The carefully selected stone is cut, ground, sandblasted and polished, and the dial disc, only 0.75mm thick, is fitted into a casing. The minute track is printed, the gold hour markers with luminescent coating are applied, and the polished yellow gold text logo is fixed to the dial with tiny feet. The date window is at 3 o'clock, the date disc is blue to match the color of the dial, and the date numerals are black. The hour, the minutes and the central seconds hands are yellow gold. The hour and minute hands are shaped to mirror the indices and are luminescent, too. The case, the bezel and the integrated bracelet with the folding clasp of this new Royal Oak self-winding 37mm reference in 18K yellow gold are exemplary in terms of hand finishing with alternating polished and satin brushed surfaces and complement the expressive blue dial. A lot of people didn't notice but AP has also released a classy self-winding Royal Oak in 18K white gold with a new smoked blue dial with Grande Tapisserie pattern, white gold applied hour markers and Royal Oak hands with luminescent coating. AP has unveiled a new addition to the 16202 lineup with the reference 16202BC, a 39mm RO, jumbo, ultra-thin in the same case styling that we expect from the model range, but with some differences at the top and bottom respectively. Where last year's watches were made with the AP signature petite tapisserie, this white gold jumbo makes things that much more interesting with its textural choice. This blue-grain dial is inspired by a Royal Oak model made in 1992 for the 20th anniversary of the Royal Oak collection and reminiscent of Tuscan dial models with a similar but far less brilliant graining. The dial texture was achieved by using a blue-tone PVD with a translucent coating using a finer and brighter grain that pops more significantly in the light. Not surprisingly, this 39mm by 8.1mm 18K white gold update is a limited edition, which means it will be even harder to get retail than other Royal Oaks. The movement is one of the newest in a P stable, the Automatic 7121, which debuted last year in the 50th anniversary 16202s. Hand-finished to the caliber one would expect from the Librassus firm, it features Côtes de Genève, circular graining, and traits Thierry's beveling throughout, with contrasting 18K pink gold bridges and rotor decorated to an equally impressive standard. The oscillating weight has ball bearings that utilize two in-house reversers for bidirectional winding, the date wheel features a quick set function, and the balance wheel has inertia blocks to help with shock proofing. Functionally, the movement operates at 28,800 VPH and achieves a power reserve of 55 hours. Last year AP came with the Onyx dial on the code 11.59. But it wasn't enough to quench the thirst of watch enthusiasts. So, this year Audemars Piguet came up with these two new versions of the Royal Oak self-winding chronograph in 38mm showing the endlessly deep black of natural onyx. And to emphasize that darkness, shimmering baguette-cut diamonds adorn the bezel and hour markers. The reference 26750R comes with a 18-karat rose gold case and bracelet when the reference 26715BC comes with a 18-karat white gold case and bracelet. Inside both timepieces that look sporty in the most lavish way, beats the automatic chronograph caliber 2385. There's another chronograph which is smoky and frosty at the same time. Sounds weird, right? But this is the truth. The all-new Royal Oak Flyback Chronograph 26240BC. This special edition flyback chronograph combines a smoked blue dial with an elegant frosted white gold case and bracelet. If you're still not satisfied with the diamonds and smokiness of the Royal Oak chronograph, knock knock. This is for you. Reference 26715BC. This 38mm reference is the most compact Royal Oak chronograph in production. With a reasonable height of 11mm, the 18K white gold case reflects the updates practiced in 2022. However, unlike the larger 41mm reference, this model is not fitted with the new in-house chronograph caliber 4401 but relies on an integrated automatic column wheel movement by Frédéric Piguet. Gleaming with the light of 32 baguette-cut diamonds on the bezel, the intense blue grand tapestry dial features an attractive gradient effect. Contrasting white gold luminescent hands and baguette-cut diamond hour markers contribute to legibility. The three snailed counters are framed with white gold and feature white inscriptions. Hidden by the solid white gold caseback is the automatic caliber 2385 with a frequency of 3 Hz and a 40H power reserve. Now let's talk about the star of the show, the main attraction of the new Royal Oak chronograph line. The Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Chronograph 41mm Baguette Sapphires Japan Edition. The 41mm Royal Oak self-winding chronograph in white gold with a bezel paved with baguette-cut blue sapphires is a cool watch in the literal sense. The sapphire blue dial matches the precious stones and shows a grande tapestry pattern. For contrast, AP decided on coloring the counters and the outside of the dial light blue. Inside the case, which measures 12.4mm thick, beats the same chronograph movement as in the 43mm offshore, APS caliber 4401. From May 2023 until the end of June 2023, this model will be for sale exclusively in Japan. Come July 2023, it will be released worldwide. There's also a new tourbillon watch with the same kind of blue smoke dial. The bezel paved with 32 baguette-cut diamonds enriches the monochromatic aesthetic of this 41mm 18-karat white gold Royal Oak self-winding flying tourbillon. In 2019, Audemars Piguet introduced the world's thinnest perpetual calendar, with a 2.89mm movement and a 6.30mm case. The watch, the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Self-Winding Perpetual Calendar Ultra Thin in a titanium case with platinum alloy parts, was based on the Road No. 2 concept revealed a year earlier. That year it received the Aigle d'Or, the top prize at the GPHG, in recognition of its creativity and innovation. And today the watch that once was the world's thinnest perpetual calendar is back again in smoky blue. This latest version of the Royal Oak Perpetual Calendar Ultra Thin is presented in a 41mm titanium case with a satin-brushed titanium bracelet, and it differs from the model released in 2019 mostly aesthetically, with the sunburst smoky blue dial with 3 snailed black counters created exclusively for this reference. The previous edition had a matte, vertically brushed dial with tone-on-tone sub-counters. Almost nothing else was touched. And frankly, It is hard to imagine any design improvements to this stunning watchmaking opus. The applied white gold hour markers are a familiar shape, as are the matching Royal Oak signature hour and minute hands, all with luminescent coating. The calendar data is printed in white, making the indications legible despite the abundance of information available. One can only admire the moon phase crescent aperture over the Audemars Piguet logo. The case of this Royal Oak QP Ultra Thin, as already mentioned, is made of grade 5 titanium, and so are the octagonal bezel and the bracelet, with alternating polished and satin brushed surfaces, a trademark finishing feature of Audemars Piguet. And this is where this new limited edition reference 26586 Ti differs from the previous all-blue edition, which featured polished platinum bezel and mid-links. It's all titanium now. The case back has a sapphire crystal to study the works of the caliber AP 5133, measuring just 2.89 mm thick. The view allows some understanding of how the slim profile was achieved. Still, the unseen dial side part of the movement reveals the secrets. Luckily, the image is made available by Audemars Piguet. You can notice components distributed horizontally, and the QP module construction was redesigned to become a single-level element. Also, the date wheel and the 48-month wheel responsible for the calculation and proper display of the calendar indications were re-engineered to reduce the overall height of the movement. These are just a few examples of what contributed to the creation of the caliber 5133, and it is worth mentioning that this movement is simplified compared to the caliber 5134 based on the earlier caliber 2120, that power, regular, perpetual calendar references in the Royal Oak and Code 11.59 collections, and has only 256 parts. At present, no new watch release from AP can be expected without new Code 11.59s. Launched in 2019, the controversial Audemars Piguet Code 11.59 collection has seen some drastic evolutions in the past years. The first year of the Code 11.59 was tough, the launch wasn't the expected success, and the reception of the watches wasn't highly enthusiastic. The reason might be the rather sleek dials that were offered in the inaugural models. Still, the watch itself had some pretty interesting features, such as a complex and rather stunning case and a solid offering of new in-house movements, including the long-anticipated integrated chronograph caliber. But the look wasn't striking enough yet. Things changed when AP decided to spice things up with gradient dials, two-tone cases or ceramic accents, enhancing the complex shape of the case. But all were mostly made of gold, expensive, heavy and too formal for some. Things are changing this year with the introduction of the steel Code 11.59 models. 6 references, available in time and date and chronograph models, featuring new dials, with cool color and more lively textures. What remains is the shape of the case, which is still one of the most complex in the brand's portfolio. Composed of stylized openwork lugs, an ultra-thin bezel, an octagonal case middle and a curvature that runs from 12 to 6 o'clock, it remains discreet at first sight and becomes much more interesting when looking at the side. Now made of steel, the finishing is no less impressive, with a combination of brushed surfaces and hand-polished accents. The models with beige dial add a case middle and a crown in black ceramic, for even more contrast. Unfortunately, the water resistance remains rated at 30 meters. All models are still 41 mm in diameter, with a thickness of 10.7 mm on the time and date models and 12.6 mm on the chronographs. And steel will of course be more resistant in daily use conditions. To further enhance the casual style of these models, AP has given its steel Code 11.59 some rubber and leather straps with a textile pattern, closed by a pin buckle, with colors matching the dials. Talking about the dials, this is where things really improve. Gone are the flat lacquered dials and the thin hands and markers. All 6 steel models, even though different in color, have a new pattern that makes the watch far more lively. The dial has a ripple pattern with concentric circles. These are obtained by a stamp process, but their creation is the result of a collaboration with Guilloche craftsman Jan van Kanel. He engraved by hand the basic stamps, with waves and hundreds of tiny holes. So even though stamped, the dials have a rather impressive level of detail. 3 different colors are available for these Code 11.59 by Audemars Piguet in stainless steel. First is a classic of the brand, the Blue Nuit, Nuage 50, found on the Royal Oak Jumbo. It's combined with a dark gray inner flange and contrasting gray counters on the chronograph version. The second color is a trendy khaki green, with a tone-on-tone flange and rhodium-plated counter scales on the chronograph. Finally, the models with contrasting ceramic elements on the case have a gradient beige dial, which is smoked away from the center and becomes completely black towards the outer edge. The time and date models are still powered by the in-house caliber 4302, an automatic movement with 4 Hz frequency and 70 H power reserve. The chronographs retain the impressive integrated chronograph caliber 4401 with a column wheel and flyback function. Visible through the sapphire back, these movements are wound by a solid pink-gold rotor and nicely decorated. AP says its latest research and development watch is its first ultra-complicated automatic wristwatch. The Code 11.59 Universal features the new AP Caliber 1000, which incorporates 40 functions, including 23 complications and 17 technical devices. It's a stunning combination of much of the R&D we've seen trickling out of AP since 2015 when it introduced the Rode No. 1, and the most complicated watch to ever come from the brand. Among the 23 complications are a Grand Sonnery Supersonnery, Minute Repeater, Perpetual Calendar, Split Seconds Flyback Chronograph, and Flying Tourbillon. AP says the Rode No. 4 took over 7 years of development and incorporates the previous 3 R&D innovations, the Supersonnery from Rode No. 1, the ultra-thin Perpetual Calendar from Rode No. 2, and the Flying Tourbillon from last year's Rode No. 3. The Caliber 1000 has 1,155 components. Impressively, it fits this in a Code 11.59 case that measures 42 mm in diameter and 15.5 mm in thickness. Crowns and pushers have been completely rethought and reworked to make the ultra-complicated Rode No. 4 intuitive, or at least as intuitive as 40 functions can be. There are 3 pushers on the left side of the midcase. The first operates the minute repeater, while the bottom 2 correct the day and date. Meanwhile, 2 rotating super crowns at 2 and 4 o'clock operate the flyback split seconds chronograph as you might expect, but the coaxial pushers allow for the selection of the chiming mode and for forward and backward correction of the month. Each super crown returns to its neutral position after it's rotated in either direction. No correctors or tools are needed to operate any of the watch's functions. Next, AP didn't just take that Supersonnery it developed back in 2015 and slap it into a Code 11.59 case. No, it's been revised and updated so the mechanism can be put on full display. AP developed a new double caseback system that comprises a secret, extra thin cover and a new soundboard that's just 0.6 mm thick and crafted entirely of sapphire crystal, on which the gongs are mounted. Meanwhile, the secret cover features a series of apertures on the side to let air through and boost the sound. As for the Perpetual Calendar, AP built on the Rode No. 2's Perpetual Calendar, which merged the Perpetual Calendar functions onto a single plane. For the user, operation has been simplified with those pushers and super crowns on the case. A 2-digit window at 4 o'clock even indicates the year, replacing the traditional leap year display. The semi-Gregorian calendar thus advances day, date, and year automatically, even taking into account the 100-year leap year corrections. This means no manual adjustment is required before the year 2400. The Flying Tourbillon uses the mechanism AP debuted in the Rode No. 3 in 2022, while the flyback split seconds chronograph uses a dedicated swivel clutch to ensure the chronograph doesn't stutter when it starts. 4 variations of the Code 11.59 Universal will be introduced by AP in 2023. The first 2 references will feature white gold cases with either a black galvanic gold dial or opaline beige PVD gold dial. The other 2 references will use either a pink gold or white gold case and feature open work dials to put the Caliber 1000 on full display. In 1994, Swiss manufacturer Audemars Piguet presented its first Grande Sonnery wristwatch. In 2020, AP reintroduced the complication and has presented a trilogy in the Code 11.59 by Audemars Piguet collection every year since. This year, the Horology House launches 3 new models. Code 11.59 by Audemars Piguet Grande Sonnery Carillon Supersonnery. They all showcase a new sapphire dial as well as a black ceramic case middle. The 3 highly complicated timepieces are powered by the newly developed Caliber 2956 and are available in 18-karat pink, yellow or white gold. The yellow gold model also makes its debut within the Code 11.59 collection. The 3 new 41mm timepieces are available in 3 different precious metals, 18-karat pink, yellow or white gold. The case middle section is made of black ceramic, having previously been introduced for the 2021 chronographs in the Code 11.59 collection and the 2022 Grande complications, but this is the first time that ceramic has also been used for a Grande Sonnery Supersonnery. A Code 11.59 model with a yellow gold case is also a first. This year, AP is introducing a transparent sapphire crystal dial into the collection for the first time. Thus, the movement becomes the face of the watch. A semi-matte black opaline inner bezel has been hand-decorated down to the smallest detail using sophisticated finishing techniques. The movement has been redesigned to show itself off in all its glory under the sapphire crystal dial. To make this possible, the bridges at 4 and 6 o'clock have been skeletonized, the railway track has been removed, and the circular graining decoration has been replaced in favor of Traits tires. Matching the black and gold tones of the case, the three-dimensional dial features hands, hour markers and a small seconds hand that all echo the color combination. The black accents of the dial are achieved through a galvanic process. The three new timepieces in the Code 11.59 by Audemars Piguet Grande Sonnery Carillon Supersonnery collection are powered by the manual winding caliber 2956 movement. It features a Grande Sonnery complication with chimes as well as the patented Supersonnery technology, which was introduced in 2015 in the Royal Oak Concept Collection. The movement consists of 498 components. A watch with Grande Sonnery not only chimes hours, quarters and minutes at the wearer's request like a classic minute repeater, but can also chime hours and quarters, similar to a bell tower, without manual operation. The wearer can choose between Grande Sonnery, Petite Sonnery and silence using a selector. The Grande Sonnery Supersonnery features a chime with 3 gongs and hammers instead of 2 gongs, allowing it to strike the quarter hours with 3 successive tones. The patented technology is the result of 8 years of joint research with the Innovation and Research Center of the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Lausanne, EPFL. Together, they remade the case design and developed new striking technology. The gongs are not attached to the main plate, but to a new device acting as a soundboard, which improves the sound transmission. Part of the 2023 collection, Audemars Piguet unveils a mesmerizing version of its Code 11.59 Flying Tourbillon with a smoked green enameled Aventurine dial. Also referred to as fumé or gradient dials, the effect produces a lighter tone in the center of the dial that intensifies as it reaches the periphery. Presented in a two-tone 41mm pink, gold and black ceramic case, this iteration will be launched exclusively in Southeast Asia in June 2023, followed by other countries in August. No change in the movement, powered by in-house caliber 2950 with a central rotor, the Flying Tourbillon is cantilevered from the bottom, and there are no bridges to obstruct the view. Last but not least, another horological wonder emerging from the eminent horology house is the Code 11.59 minute repeater Supersonnery. While we have seen this piece before in the form of a white gold model with a smoked blue enamel dial, the latest iteration features a bicolor case. The most intriguing part, however, is the new smoked sapphire dial, revealing a captivating glimpse into the intricate mechanism that lies below. The pink gold case housing this mechanism features the typical Code 11.59 architecture, while integrating a black ceramic octagonal case middle. As with all the cases in the collection, it showcases highly crafted hand finishing and decoration, principally satin brushing and polishing that accentuate the distinctive case shape. The star of the show, however, is naturally the smoked sapphire dial, revealing the complexity of the minute repeater's supersonnery mechanism below. Incorporating pink gold hands and hour markers that recall the main case, the dial also features the Audemars Piguet signature using galvanic growth. This is a sophisticated process akin to 3D printing. Likewise, the minimalist small seconds counter's gold thread also uses this complex process. The hand wound minute repeater visible via the dial is the caliber 2953. It features Audemars Piguet's supersonnery technology.